There goes Channel 4 Racing's big cheese, Andrew Franklin, the fool who employs me.
Oh man, very important. Now this is seriously. Yesterday, you know, you had these women and your sweaty armpit today.
No women.
Well,
I think Jo, she can teach me a lesson too. It's not J-O-E, by the way, it's J-O. She's all female, you can see that.
Oh, Lord. She won't want to come racing again, that's for certain.
You move the other side because you can't grab her because you're with that arm.
No,
He can put his arm, but no, when you put your arm out, don't sort of grab them.
All it shows.
Basically what we do is we have two race cards, one's before the race and obviously one's after it. So you get the facts before the race, and it's got Shadide in the Oaks today. Well, 33 favourites have won this century. That's in book number 1. If the creature wins, it's then 34 favourites have won this century. You can go on talking about, for instance, 46 fillies have won the 1,000 guineas in the Oaks, and if she wins it, she'll be the 47th filly to do it. So it's updating one from one. So really it's homework you do. You never know when you're going to be called upon, when they're going to shout down and say, give us 30 seconds, John, you've got something here. You can't really go into people's homes unless you've done your homework. Some are bored by it, others love the stats and really swear by them. The information's there and we try and give it to you on Channel 4.
Now's the time to find the day's steamer, any horse well backed in several offices. So apart from the big three, there are independent firms including Ireland to be checked, along with the racecourse tissue, the gossip and whispers round the course and in the offices, all go into working out whether a pattern emerges for Channel 4 Racing to have a steamer that day.
OK, leave you in peace. Superman, bye.
This is all the action happens on Channel 4, the caption truck. Far more important than having people blabbering away on screen. Get it up on captions so the viewers can read it. This is Neck of the Swan here. Come on, you old fool. What have you got? So, for instance, we'll be using before the race the Oaks winners. Well, that'll be after the race, actually. That's very clever. Oaks winners in the Irish Oaks since 1965. Very lucky the winner with this will go for the Irish Oaks. So we've got the figures up so people can see how they've done statistically. And before the race, we've got, for instance, we've got 1,000 Guineas winners in the Oaks, haven't we, Nick? Let's see how that one goes. So there's 1,000 Guineas winners in the Oaks since 1958. You can see there what a tremendous record they've got. I think 9 of them there have won, and only 2,000 Guineas winners running in the Oaks since 1958 have been beaten. 9 have won and 2 have been beaten, so that's obviously very interesting. And we've got that sort of statistical thing, haven't we, on the stats? So we've got grey winners of the Oaks. So if Shadide wins, we're given the 4 other grey winners have won the Oaks, leading partner Batista 12, Sun, Cap, and Scotia. And we've got that stats one. Oh, Nicky. Oaks win, another thing, Oaks win is previously unbeaten. So we can see there, since the war, the other fillies at Shadai would join. That's provided she wins, of course. That's for after the race.
Winston Sue Nicole, a key member of the Channel 4 Racing team, and it is a team effort. Pulling together. The top national newspaper tipster in form. Now, half the leading tipsters never napped a winner all week, but Sheikh Al Badou in the Nunthorpe helped to break the ice. Magnificent win under a huge drive by Pat Edery. Poor old Paris House, the two-year-old of Jack Berry's in front. Here comes Edery on Sheikh Al Badou, driving to the front in the last 50 yards and getting up to win a great race for the Nunthorpe and beating Paris House. And it was napped by Newsboy in the Daily Mirror. So Newsboy is this week's hack to back because of Sheikh Al Badou, and he goes for Swing Low. Swing Low, that's the hack to back, that's the tip. Frankie Dettori's ride at Newmarket in the 320. The betting's quite light today, so I'd like to concentrate on the fact that in the Channel 4 races, there are 11, 10, 11 and 11, all 4 are handicaps. Now, Hills are going a quarter the odds in all these handicaps. Ladbrokes a quarter in some of them, but most bookmakers are fifth the odds. Isn't it time, lads, to end this nonsense of a fifth the odds in 8, 9, 10 and 11 runner handicaps? Here's a typical day today. Channel 4, lots of Yankees will be going in. 11, 10, 11 and 11. For goodness sake, give us a quarter the odds. Horses backed, you could say, in the Dane Pack Bacon handicap, the bottom pair, High Jam and Jubran. There's some money for those, but it's betting spread right round so many horses. But, Bruff, what I was thinking about is we've gone and pinched a Tory from Italy, and we've gone and sent them Gaza in exchange. I think we've got the best of the deal, you know.
He looks a bit... They've got about 6 stone more meat, that's it.
Today is a great day for if ever you're to buy one of the trade papers, the Sporting Life or the Racing Post. They are quite magnificent in their coverage, the hard work that's gone into them in the Sporting Life, generous to a fault, an epic Sporting Life. It certainly is that. Arc Special, they've got a 4-page pull-out on it there. And in the Racing Post, go for it, generous, they're crying. And they're price-wise, which is absolutely indispensable price-wise in the Sporting Life, strike the right right note with double carpet 33-1 Dissonant. And the question I asked on Channel 4 yesterday, the big question of the day, why has Michael Roberts jumped off Operation Wolf, fourth in the Cambridgeshire last year and well handicapped, and got on Julie Cecil's Dissonant? That's the key question we've got to ask today. Try and get a bit of that double carpet 33-1. But the papers, virtually every hack in the country goes for Generous for tomorrow's Arc. Generous to join the greats, that's in the Times. Richard Bearline in the Guardian, Generous primed to join Seabird and Rebo on the Arc Roll of Honour. And the one dissonant note, you might say, is in the Star from Jack Berry, the great trainer, who says he's worried about the draw 14 of 14 for Generous. And he said Generous looked a world beater at Ascot in July, but that was probably his peak. And it will be some feat to bring him back after a 2-month break to match that performance. As I've been saying all week, 5-4 and 11-8, I couldn't take that. Suave Dancer to win Toulon each way. I think it'll be the Marseillaise they'll be singing on Sunday, to the disappointment of the Generous supporters. But if you're betting in France, look what the Independent says. The French rather look down on gambling. They're a nation of furtive gamblers. They do it, but don't like to be seen doing it, much with their sexual habits as well, the French. But all I can say is there's no betting shops over there. Paris Mutuel, the punters are strangled. We've got free choice over here, totem betting shops. Far better, no furtiveness in Britain's 10,000 betting shops. In the Times here, they got an article on Dick Francis, and what they're doing here is not a mention of Devon Lock. Brilliant article by Geraldine Bedell to do Dick Francis without mentioning Devon Lock. Fantastic. Winter's coming, snow, snow, thick, thick snow. Well, you certainly won't get me on the piste anywhere. But people are going over to Paris. Is New York more romantic than Paris? The answer to that is no, and I'm certain many Brits will be finding that out over the next 48 hours. And finally, in today, my love for the world's most beautiful woman. Look at this scrawny creature here. She could never compare with my luscious, lovely booby. That ghastly thing, awful, scrawny, horrible creature. Give me the booby any time.
18 months ago, Pat Rowan, after many successful years of training at Moulton in Yorkshire, decided to accept an invitation from one of the rulers of Bahrain to go over there and train his horses. Well, Pat and Mary left for Bahrain. When the troubles began, a lot of his friends were worried about him. I rang him up and he said, leave. With the 2-year-olds I've got here, I'll be the last to leave. So now, I'm glad to say, we've got Pat again on the line, I believe. Hello, Pat.
Hello, John. Nice to hear you.
First of all, Pat, how are you? How's Mary? And how are you being affected by the war?
Mary is wonderful, and I'm very well. And the war, yes, it has been a big worry. And racing's off, everything's off. Everybody's having to listen to air raid sirens and be ready to get under cover.
Do you have gas masks and that sort of preparation?
Yes, the British Embassy and the Irish Society have done a fantastic job and looking after us very well.
Pat, who else have you got over there with you from Britain, the British Isles?
I've got Stuart and Chris Morris and their child. Stuart's riding for me and riding very well. He's the second top jockey. And I've got John Clark and his wife Liz as assistant trainer, who used to work for Peter Easterby. And they've been a wonderful help.
And they're all fine. I'm sure their friends will want to know.
I'm giving them all plenty of work so they sleep at night and they don't hear the air raid sound, so they can get up in the morning and do some work.
Pat, how does it affect your training of the horses? Your stable lads, for instance, have any of them left?
A few of them wanted to leave, and I said, the boss stays, you all stay. It's as simple as that.
Well done. And
they've been marvellous. They've been marvellous. They've been marvellous.
And Pat, you told me you had some wonderful 2-year-olds. Are the horses still going well?
Oh, great, yes, going well. Just a bit unlucky last Friday. We had 3 seconds and 3/3, but we were second in a £5,000 race with a very nice. And they're now, the 2-year-olds are now 3. So yes, I got some very nice horses.
Pat, do you hear much sounds of action? Do you see a lot of aircraft about?
And we hear them all night. We hear them all night and all day now. But they're at the top end of the island and the bottom of the island most of the time.
And so far, no actual sign of attack or missiles or anything of that kind?
Oh, no. This has been a fantastic... that morning of the 17th, that was fantastic homework and fantastic operation. I mean, it's world-class. Unbelievable.
Well, Pat, it's wonderful to hear you sounding so well. Give my love to Mary, the very best of luck, and we'll have the cards all ready for you when you come over to Royal Ascot.
Yes, tell all my friends we're very well, and I only wish there was bookmakers here.
They'd be delighted to hear you.
All the best.
Paris House, who cost just 5,000 guineas as a yearling, but has won all 3 of his races and was a red-hot favourite for the 2 o'clock this afternoon, the Arlington Auction Stakes, where Miss Nosy Parker and Ned Tex were non-runners. John Tyrrell, how did they bet?
Well, Derek, they made Paris House the favourite at 6-4 on, Branston Abbey 5-1, and Spanish Storm at 6-1, together with Chargetes. Belarus a 12-1 shot and 20-1 bar theirs.
Lined up and away. Paris House from stall 10 went off the rails. Tagetes in the yellow colours the rails, but Paris House gets the call with Spanish Storm with a white cap down the centre of the track on the outside of Branston Abbey. And it's these 3 who have it, just a length ahead of Capini in the blue and white hoop sleeves. Off the pace ridden along Penny drops, and out pace at this stage Swan Star. And they come down to the 3, and Paris House really travelling well and really attacking, but Branston Abbey in the pale jacket tries to go with it. 2 lengths back to Tagetes, and then behind that one Spanish Storm. They come down to halfway, and it's Paris House the rail, the grey with a noseband on the outside. Branston Abbey tries to put a challenge. These 3 clear of Spanish Storm and Tagetes, and he's 8 clear of the others. They come down to the final furlong, and it's Paris House, a little professional this, and he's going on. Branston Abbey tries to press as they come inside the final furlong, and it's Paris House now, the whip's up on him, and it's Branston Abbey putting in a big challenge. Paris House holding Branston Abbey, but Branston Abbey's driving, and they go to the line. It's going to be close, but Paris House holds Branston Abbey in a photo.
Good finish that between 2 very interesting, tough Yorkshire trained colts. The northern trained horses coming down, finishing 1st and 2nd. Interesting point there, what GG was saying, that this winner, Paris House, is a little professional. That's just what he is. Another winner for Jack Berry, the 30th of the season for him. Mick Easterby wasn't too pleased though with Pat Edry. He said he rode it £2 over at 8 stone 6, and you know that might just have cost him the race. Mind you, I think with Pat Edry on board, I think that always helps a couple of lengths. Anyway, let's get the SP from JT.
First number 2, Paris House, the 6-4 on favourite. Second number 3, Branston Abbey, 5-1. And third number 1, Spanish Storm, at 6-1. The tip returns win 160, places 120, 150 and 140. The dual forecast going to £3.30, and a computer straight forecast amounted to £5.44. Non-runners, numbers 4 and 5, and 9 rounds.
Worried about the price of Paris House, 6-4 on, and they've backed it 9-4 bar. That's Colway Bold.
The start's so vital here, and Paris House bursts out, but also going with him on the red cap, the rail Power Lake, and between the 2, Colway Boulder, who holds that juvenile track record of Ripon. Saddlehome just simply outpaced as they go to the first furlong, and this Paris House is scorching the turf. He's taken a length out of the field. He goes on by a length and a half to Power Lake, the rail second, Colway Boulder. Diamond Mine chased along. Saddlehome, he's in a different parish, but that's not being disrespectful to him, because this Paris House is desperately fast. He's got the rail, ears pricked. Here comes Power Lake, pulled to the outside. Colway Bold ridden along. They've gone past the 2, and Paris House is going on now, but here comes Power Lake off the pack, and all of a sudden Paris House is having to stretch his 2 clear of Power Lake. He's left Colway Bold behind inside the final furlong. No worries, Paris House clear by 3, half a furlong to go. Paris House stretching, he's coming clear by 4 up towards the line. A devastating run by this fast horse. Paris House takes it, Power Lake is second, Colway Bold is third, and then Diamond Mine. And Saddlehome was always outpaced in this classy Flying Childers Stakes, a Group 2 event. It's gone to the odds-on favourite number 3, Paris House, a son of Petong in the colours of Mr. P.E.T. Chandler, trained at Cockerham by Jack Berry, for whom he is the 85th 2-year-old winner of the season, and this one ridden by John Carroll, for whom it is the 81st winner of the season. Odds of 6-4 on were laid on Paris House, and really never in doubt from the moment the stalls opened, because this horse is fast. Make no work.
You touched it on Thursday, the final race with the Smurfit Old and Bold Stakes over 1.5 miles, and it seemed as though it was confined to riders who were senile and decrepit. Our own Bruff Scott had a ride. The Sporting Life editor Mike Gallimore had a ride as well, but of course that wouldn't apply to Stan Mellor. He rode the 11-8 on Rockface, and of course it wouldn't apply to the Noble Lord either, though in Thursday's sport newspaper, Kevin Minter, who writes on under the nom de plume, the captain, he wrote, "There's a big tip for the noble lord's horse, Campsie Ash. But I do hope the veteran rider remembers to fit new batteries in his pacemaker before leaving the mansion. My noble lord, surely your loyal, devoted butler, Bolton, never sends you out with your batteries flat?"
Actually, he had them specially recharged for you, Toxeter. As a matter of fact, we're now going to see this regrettable race. Well, the regrettable part about it is that I only finished 4th. I had a lovely ride on Campsie Ash, but I must say, now just watch this on the bend here. Stan Mellor in the yellow cap, just cut up Jeremy Glover quite badly on the turn there, and Bruff is in the red colours on the outside with a black cap. And that's me in the sort of Jeff Hubbard G. Armitage colours, green with white sleeves. And I must say that from now on in, if you ever saw a non-trier, this is it, because I don't seem to do anything. Talk about excessive use of the whip. This is minimal. Love. Jim is now commenting, in fact.
Yes, but we actually know you, and we know that you wouldn't be capable of doing such a thing.
No, I promise I was trying hard, but I was also trying to sort of ride within my limitations. And in any case, poor Campsie Ash did his level best. As you can see, just fails to catch Bruff, who was riding a horse of Martin Pipe's. This is Bruff on Sweet Glow, riding into 3rd place now, and Stan Mellor the winner.
Well, my noble lord, all I can say is that Bruff insists that he outrode you for 3rd place. I don't think you're going to live that down, but of course you're riding for us on the BBC, I hate to say, the Channel 4 racing team next Friday at Ascot. We've got the greatest jockey, and I'm hoping that rogue Bill Smith makes the draw fair, that at last the Channel 4 horses have a reasonable chance. Good luck to you at Ascot on Friday. Channel 4 have got to beat the good RB.
And I'm always saying to you, come racing, but the news that only 3 tracks have got a crash is absolutely staggering. I just cannot believe it when I was told, and it's an absolute shame. We're saying come racing, want the families to come, as they do in America especially. You see lots of kids, the playgrounds, every track in America wouldn't dream of doing without it. Why on earth? There's not a small amount of money isn't laid out, and when we say come racing, we mean that you, with your family, should come racing. I'm really shocked at those statistics. I hope the Racecourse Association do something about it quick. We won't drop this on Channel 4. Now the betting here against Mr. Entertainer is Burlington Bertie, 100 to 30 Mr. Entertainer, with a day's steamer Bold Lament in at 7 to 2, 11 to 2 against Gold Options, and it's then 13 to 2 Family Boy, 8 to 1 bar. Bold Lament, the steamer, challenging for favouritism, Mr. Entertainer now.
News just in, Bold Lament, £2 over, Richard Dunwoody on the It was fascinating looking at the breeding of racehorse, not just from the sire's point of view, but from the dams as well. And in my book, if a racehorse has got a good dam, well, I think that's got a very good start in life. And that's why here yesterday, we're looking forward, very much looking forward, to see a horse called Marling running. And Marling was the daughter of Marwell, who's one of the fastest fillies we've seen over the past few years. Now, Gallop reports had been encouraging, and that's why Marling started a red-hot favourite for the Wilbraham Maiden Filly Stakes here yesterday.
And it's Oversharp the rail in the red cap, Twaffige in the red colours on the right of the leading 3. In between those two comes Don't Worry. And now Marling pulled to the outside, the horse with the noseband, jockey Gary Carter in the black cap, but the 3 that were outpaced early are certainly getting closer. They race down into the dip, just over a furlong to go, and it's Twaffige that goes on. Twaffige opens up by a length. Here comes Marling in the dark blue sleeve colours on the outside, and Marling now comes to take Twaffige. Oversharp is weakening back and won't even get placed, and as they go to the line, it's Marling now going on by a length. A good introduction this. Marling classy and speedy. Marling takes it, Twaffige second.
And that Marling was one for the Racecourse Gossips. Over in Ireland in the morning, they were trying to get a price about it. Touch 7 to 4 here on the course. 4 grand, 2 grand bets were flying around about her. Come racing. There comes a time when these whispers get infectious and you can't help but joining in.
Filly, this easily the pick of the paddock. And she ran a blinder last time out in the Queen Mary at Royal Ascot. Just got beaten by Marling. I didn't think she had the best of runs that day, and it looked for all the world as though 6 furlongs was going to suit her much better. She'd actually won at Newbury over that distance first time out.
Yeah, she beat quite a good field at Newbury, and I think your point about Ascot is exactly right, John, but I think the reason she got into trouble was that back at 5 against much faster types than she'd run against at Newbury, she got into trouble, had to switch, got checked and came round. You know the Cole team pretty well. You play tennis with the owner and the trainer. She's had a bit of a problem, hasn't she?
Well, I don't know that she's had a problem. I think that yesterday Dylan ran too badly to be true, and I haven't spoke to Paul today, but certainly there would have been more than the ground that stopped him from getting beaten. I know John actually was just saying how well Mill reef-handled the ground. Well, I think you'd have to be pretty stupid not to think that there was a little bit more to it than that yesterday, having just handle of the ground at Goodwood. But this filly looks the part. It's very difficult when horses aren't right. Very often it takes a race before you find out. Tommy Stack was saying about Runyon actually didn't show any signs of being unwell until he came back from his race on Tuesday. This filly looks magnificent. Richard Quinn been having a great time over in Spain. I think he's leading jockey at one Northern track there. Lester Piggott deputising this afternoon for Michael Roberts on Miss Bluebird. Michael Roberts had to go to Yarmouth, and this filly ran really well in the Cherry Hinton last time out behind Musical. Kept on really well in the closing stages. Just got touched out of second place by Coffee Ice.
We've just to see Poulester, and as we look for her, the latest betting: 5-4 Sahara Star, 15-8 Culture Vulture, 4-1 Miss Bluebird, 6-1 Poulester. Here's Graham.
6 furlongs a trip then, and it's Miss Bluebird who makes the early running. Culture Vulture going with her, and on the right is Sahara Star, and just tucked away Poulester. It is Miss Bluebird who blazes the trail to Culture Vulture, and then on the right Sahara Star, on the left Poulester, and the little to choose between the 4 who come down the centre of the track. They come past the 4, and it's Culture Vulture and Miss Bluebird from Sahara Star and Poulester. Come down past the 3. Culture Vulture, the yellow cap, Sahara Star on the right, yellow colours Miss Bluebird, pink cap on the left, Poulester getting a bit closer. They come past the 2, and Culture Vulture just goes on now. Miss Bluebird gets reminders. Culture Vulture in the lead, but here comes Poulester on the left in the pink cap, and with a furlong to go, Culture Vulture pressed hard by Poulester. They're leaving the other 2 behind, and Culture Vulture has it. Culture Vulture goes on by 2, by 3, and opens up by 4 as they go to the line. A one-horse race is Culture Vulture storms home. Culture Vulture wins it, Poulester second, Sahara Star third, and Miss Bluebird fourth of 4. The result then of this Group 2 Lather Stakes, it's a win for number 2, Culture Vulture, in the colours of Christopher Wright, trained of Watcombe by Paul Cole, a 2-year-old double for him today, and ridden by Richard Quinn, his 61st winner of the season. Second horse home, Poulester, ridden by Kevin Darley, trained up here in the north by Mick Easterby. Third horse home, number 1, Sahara Star, the mount of Pat Edery. Culture Vulture has prevailed though, made virtually all the running, and certainly asserted and really came home very well indeed inside the final furlong. At one stage, with just over a furlong to go, I thought Poulester was going to give her a real race, but in the end it was a one-horse race that won. Culture Vulture, the daughter of Timeless Moment, the 85-40 favourite, and bred in the US of A.
In fact, second favourite, Culture Vulture. And there's one sick parrot by the side of me, because I bumped into 2 people today, and I mean this, who said that John Frankham had told them to back Culture Vulture earlier in the week. What did I think? And I said, well, if he's told you to back it, he'd have done it on good authority. And authority is the way this filly, or with authority, is the way this filly's taken this race, because she's drawn right away. She's not a filly that through a race, John, actually looks tremendously impressive. Although she's not off the bridle yet, she's about to become so. And it looks a bit of a struggle for her, but she's so game, she gradually pulls the others off the bridle.
Yeah, it's only her 3rd run, and I should think she's just learning her job all of the time. And it's only at this stage, about a furlong from home, that Richard Quinn's actually asked her to lengthen her stride and go about her job, and she's really quickened up well, because it looked at that moment as though she was going to be tackled by Poulester and Sahara Star, but really she's pulled away and done this really nicely in the closing stages, and Another £38,439 towards the leading trainer's prize money. That'll certainly help keep Paul in front at the top of the table.
And we'll see more of this filly, because to put that sort of distance between her and her rivals in a short space of time, i.e. the last furlong, can only have been the performance of a good filly in the making. She'll get 7 furlongs and she'll win again.
A drifter in the market because of those rumours. Culture Vulture has returned 85-40, second favourite. Most bookmakers on the track were going 2-1 at the off, but just enough were going 9-4, and the SP men thought it fair to split it. You wouldn't have got really heavy bets on at 9-4, so returned 85-40. The second Pour Leicester, 13-2, back down from 8-1, and the third Sahara Star, the 11-8 favourite, owned by Chris Wright of Chrysalis Records, of course. This Culture Vulture, in shot there, Chris Wright, he'll be absolutely delighted. The breeding value of this filly alone must be absolutely tremendous. She could well go for the Cheveley at Newmarket. Will also to won that on the 6 furlong Lowther. Mrs. Penny in 79, Devon Ditty in 78. 85-40, and wins by 4 lengths and 1.5.
Well, she was well bought, this filly. Chris Wright quite often uses Charlie Gordon-Watson, and by the same sire as Timeless Times, and not dissimilar either.
No, 120,000 she costs. She's from a good family too. She's from the same family as Zilzal and Polish Precedent, and her sire was a smart sprinter who won 10 of his 27 races. He's now at the grand age of 22.
She was actually well bought at that price, although it might seem expensive considering how well related she is and what a good individual. She was all, well, you could say she was almost stolen.
Well, she was a drifter. A long face on my right. Unfortunately, he didn't row in with his advice to everyone else. Hope some of you took it. Here's the SP.
First, number 2, Culture Vulture, 85-40. The second, number 4, Pour Leicester at 13-2. And third, number 1, Sahara Star, the 11-8 favourite. The tote paid £2.70 for the win and £7.30 for the dual forecast. And for dance, the 9-4 favourite, Elbio 11-4. Sheikh Albadou steady on 6-1, and Paris House now into 13-2, opened over 8. Classy Briefcase 9-1 from 8-1. Title Row steady on 9s. Blyton Lad at 50s along with Boyle George. And Duplicity Friendless in the market, 100-1.
Well, a cracking betting heat. I honestly don't know which I'd pick if you gave me a tenner, which I'm sure you're not going to do.
I'm certainly not going to give you a tenner. Ideally, I'd like to see the American filly win, because it might encourage a few more American horses to come over, and there's no doubt that it adds another element to our racing when you've got a few international runners. Having said that, the French filly, Divine Dance, looked particularly well. There's any number of these I could be really pleased to see win. This horse in the foreground now, Paris House, be wonderful, or another wonderful achievement for Jack Berry if this 2-year-old could win.
1 to go, jockeys. 2-1 Divine Dance as the last one, Classy Briefcase, enters the stalls. 5 furlongs a trip, don't blink, you'll miss it, it's only a minute. And it's all about start, and let's get away, and a pretty good break by all of them, and Classy Briefcase was so fast out of the stalls. Look at that, leading at Class Field by about a length, but Sheikh Albadou's pedigree are wise to it. Lester Piggott and Boyle George are going there too, and so too Blyton Lad. Divine Dance completely taken off her feet. Paris House, the 2-year-old, is matching strides now. This must be a thrill for Jack Berry as they come past the 3. As a 2-year-old Paris House devours Classy Briefcase with Sheikh Albadou back in third. Blyton Lad shake it up. Boyle George is out of it. Albio off the pace. Divine Dance completely outpaced. They come past the 2, and Classy Briefcase is not good enough. And it's Paris House and Sheikh Albadou from Blyton Lad running a big race. Divine Dance and Albio outpaced. They're inside the final furlong, and it's Paris House who has it. Here comes Sheikh Albadou with a determined drive down the centre of the track. The 2-year-old Paris House pressed hard by Sheikh Albadou, and the Albadou gets there. Sheikh Albadou's going to win it. Sheikh Albadou wins. It's going to be close to second. Paris House and Blyton Lad, and then behind these came LBO and Divine Dance, followed by Duplicity, who was simply outpaced. So too Title Roll and Boyle George, and sadly Classy Briefcase just couldn't last. She finished last in fact, but the result then of this Keeneland Nunthorpe Stakes, it's gone to horse number 6, Sheikh Albadou, in the colours of Hilal Salem, trained at Newmarket by Alex Scott, and this horse blisteringly fast, ridden by Pat Edery, giving him his 114th winner of the season, returned at 6-1 and bred by the Highclere Stud Limited, so well done to all them. But what a cracking race by the second horse home, number 9 Paris House, bought up at the sales for only 5,000 guineas under Darrell Holland, actually led the field for such a long way, and an equally bold performance by number 1 Blighton Lad, trained at Hambledon by Bill Pearce and ridden by Stuart Webster. So,
well, we know Paris House is a fast starter, but nothing got away so quickly as Classy Briefcase. Tremendous speed, and John Frankham said to me after a furlong or so, look at the horses out the back. Classy animals like Divine Dance and LBO were simply run off their feet.
I don't know what you're seeing from this angle. It's not quite the same as the original angle, but to me, I think this is the best horse race I've ever seen. It was just like watching a 100-metre sprint at the Olympic Games. They came out so fast. Very often you get one horse go off and make the run-in, but these three, the American Challenger, Classy Briefcase, Paris House, Sheikh Albadoo and Blighton Lad, they were really burning it just coming up this straight. And at this stage, the £18 that Paris House is getting from Sheikh Albadoo was just about allowing him to stay in front, but Pat Edery was really hard at work, and in the end, is an older horse, just managed to give the extra weight away. But this really was a great race, a real incredible feeling of speed as they raced over those first 3 furlongs. And just as we reached the line, Pat Edery and Sheikh Albadoo, well, the further he went, the better he seemed to be going, giving him a couple of cracks just to make sure that he didn't hang around. I don't suppose he could have gone much faster.
Well, what a fantastic race Paris House ran, and indeed Blighton Lad. Darrell Holland gave Paris House a wonderful ride, held him together, didn't panic early on when he was taken off his feet in the first furlong. And there's our winner. And what a great moment for Alex Scott too, because he's had a rotten time since Possessive Dancer won the Oaks until this afternoon. His horses haven't been right, and 1 or 2 have run disappointingly. 1 got left in the stalls the other day, but that's all gone now. And the owners of this horse, the second, will be delighted. They said anything better than 4th was a bonus. They've had wonderful fun. But this is a fine stamp of horse, isn't it?
Well, he's a lovely looking horse to look at. And I must admit that coming back to 5 furlongs today, I thought that maybe just might be taken off his feet slightly, having raced over 7 furlongs a couple of times and proving that he was particularly effective over 6, but that wasn't the case. And himself, like the lad, Classy Briefcase, only 3 that could really go the pace early on.
Number 6, £1.70, number 9, £1.40, number 1, £6.70.
Sheikh Albadoo back down at 7-1 in the offices this morning, 13-2 here on the course. Returned the tight 6-1 third favourite Sheikh Albadoo, and the second, that marvellous run by Paris House, is sent off the 7-1 fourth favourite, and he's the 6th 2-year-old to be runner-up in the Nunthorpe. In the 60s, Decoy Boy, Katerina and Kerriby, the Irish filly Aberdessa in 1958, and Obliterate way back in 1923, with the other 2-year-olds to be runners-up in the Nunthorpe. And the third, Blighton Lad, that old boy, what a great race he ran, returned 40-1 against Blighton Lad. And the fourth, Divine Dance, was sent off the 2-1 favourite, which means that only one favourite has won in 17 races at the meeting. The honours go to Sheikh Albadoo, but the glory goes to Paris House.
Well, Sheikh Albadoo is from the first crop of Green Desert, who had a brilliant season. He was leading 2-year-old sire, but it didn't in fact sire a group race winner last year, despite the fact that he got numerous winners. Sheikh Albadoo and others have begun to put that right in no uncertain manner, and this horse has now added a valuable Group 1 success to that impressive first crop. Lord Porteous, Lord Carnarvon will be pleased about that, because he bred this horse. His animals are having a fantastic season, one's from his original stud. Another important winner for the Highclere establishment.
Well, we've already mentioned what a good race Paris House ran. I think we ought to mention Blighton Lad, the third horse home. He was one of the other ones able to go the pace early on. And good effort there from Will Pearce, who trains this enormous son of Skyliner. Good effort from the first 3 home, but this exciting horse to go on with now. Presumably we'll be seeing him at Arc weekend. in the major sprint there. Good advertisement for Keeneland. Let's have a look at his starting price.
First number 6, Sheikh Albadoo at 6 to 1. Second number 9, Paris House, 7 to 1. And third number 1, Blighton Lad at 40 to 1. Number 7, Divine Danse, was the 2 to 1 favourite. The take returns win at 6.20. The place is 170, 140 and £6.70. The draw forecast came to £14.90 and
Under
9
cross-examination last night, John McCurrick admitted to me that he is in fact of Scottish descent. Indeed, he claims that his ancestors sacked Aberdeen in 1210. A very nasty thought for Aberdonians, and I'm afraid we've got to face it. Sooner or later, he's pretty certain to turn up here in a kilt. However, today I'm glad to say there's nothing tartan about him. And here he is with the English and Scottish newspaper.
Remember, it's the Mackintosh clan, my noble lord.
Oh, I beg your
a bit
pardon.
of breeding, old chap. The Scottish newspaper, the Scottish Daily Record, are quoting David Ellsworth, who came up here for the first time yesterday and won the Air Gold Cup, who says, "I'm going to be back here next year. The air staff do the job right." Tremendous tribute that from David Ellsworth. They're going absolutely perfect. Well done to Air. And down at Newbury, Richard Hannon was receiving his reward. He landed a treble yesterday. He's now trained 102 winners. And in the Racing Post statistics, which are always fascinating, of the top trainers, only 2 trainers, Jack Berry and Richard Hannon, have trained more than 100 winners, and neither of them have got an Arab-owned horse between them. It's absolutely amazing the kind of advice the Arabs are getting. One wonders the quality of it. My services are available. In the Star, Jack Berry's tipping his horses. He's got 7 runners here at Ayr, and the 2 that he tips are Rose of Era in the 235 and Bold Arabella in the 340. They look to be the 2 of Jack Berry's from his 7 up here at Ayr, as he writes in the Star. Extraordinary story, this by Colin Mackenzie, very old indeed. I'm surprised that Colin, leading on Brent Walker crisis, could leave Ascot without a sponsor. Well, we all know that. But the meeting goes ahead next week. Great family day. If you want to come racing, Brent Walker Festival at Ascot will be a smashing day, richest day's racing of the season. In the Star, they're talking about this trainer, the gambler, professional gambler, played by David McCallum in Trainer. I'd like to see more of him in the series, and probably the reason is that he's a jet setter. Apparently he goes backwards and forwards to New York every week. But the shocking thing of the week, I think, was the pompous Jockey Club protest last week that the member of the disciplinary committee might have something to hide. It's a hocus-pocus series. Owners, trainers, jockeys, bookmakers all the time. The police, even hacks, are all portrayed as villains at times in these series, and the Jockey Club will be wanting to ban Dick Francis books next. Poor old David Pipe, their PR, put up to say such rubbish like this. He can't believe it. Why does he even say it? Great quote here in the Express from Jermaine Greer, who says, "The apparent death of socialism in the last few years is a blow against feminism." I think it's good news for men and women, both those events that are happening. And in the Mirror, great picture of Jonathan Ross. You remember we had Nigel Mansell, the racing driver without a heart, out riding the other week, and we criticised him. There's Jonathan on a bicycle, wearing a protective hat. Well done. Anybody who rides a bicycle should do that. But next to it, there's a quote from Joan Rivers, the American comedian, and it says, "I like men who are prematurely wealthy." So I think that probably sums up Jonathan Ross. And finally, in the Mail on Saturday, it says, "Is this really the sexiest man on television?" Must be another article on me, I suppose. I'm fed up with it, really.
So like it. Now then, come on, you must say who the sexiest man on television is.
Where's the bald-headed coot, my noble lord? Clive James!
And another question is, do you wear a crash helmet when you're riding your tricycle?
I certainly do, my noble peer. I'm sensible. I've got a lot of brain power to get knocked out there.
It's very exciting. I'm really thrilled to be in this position now. Hopefully we can go ahead and, prove very successful.
Well, Richard Quinn, I've got to ask you, how do you feel after finding out you've lost your job?
Well, life's full of these little things, but life goes on.
Mm-hmm. When did you actually find out?
I got a phone call yesterday morning.
And what did that say?
Well, just that Mr. Salmon wanted to retain his own jockey.
Yeah. Why do you think they've made the switch?
I think it's been in the back of Mr. Salmon's mind for quite some time to have a jockey to ride all his horses around England, and I was unable to do that.
Here's Mick Sharon in quite a winning run. Your owner just said if you looked after yourself the way Leicester had, you'd still be playing.
I wish I was, but no, I mean, she's a bonny little filly, and there was nowhere else to go, really. We went up £14 from the Hong Kong, and we had to try and win a group race. And her form behind Blue Daisy in Ireland was very good, She gave it £10, only beat 2 lengths. And I thought, well, we've got every right to be here today, and the maestro done it, didn't he?
And booking him, did you book him, or like the old days, did he ring you?
No, I rang him. Went, all right, yeah, what's yours? I'll ride it. great conversation.
Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the actual. Yeah, the ride was longer than the conversation, Nick.
But yeah, she travelled great, you know. I mean, it was, you know, you don't give Leicester orders. I just said leave her alone to halfway, and then see how you go, you know. And she don't get beaten many close finishes, does she?
Exactly, she does run. But Nick, you as an athlete, here's a 55-year-old athlete, and he's having to work, and he still does it.
You've got to be fit, whatever you're at, haven't you? You know, but I don't know, he's brilliant. He's, you know, she's not the easiest to ride, and he settled her great, you know, and didn't rush her, and well, she's got there, hasn't she? I think he thought he'd got there, but but it was close. Yeah, on this, from this angle. From the other angle, it didn't look as if it had.
And there's the official print, so you're absolutely safe. But when he came in, he wouldn't go into the Winners' Cup.
No, but he said, I think we might just have got there.
Congratulations.
As far as I know, a carpet was 3 months imprisonment in the old days.
Yeah, so it's 33 as a double carpet.
I think it took them took a prisoner that time 3 months to make a carpet. That's what I think it came from. So if you've got 2 3s put together on the board, it's double.
He left Francois Boutin's stable early on Sunday morning. On breeding, you can certainly question the French colt's stamina, but there's no doubt whatever about his courage and ability. Nor, by the look of it, his balance, as he followed a lead horse smoothly round Tattenham Corner before breakfast this morning. The Epsom Derby is one of few big European races that Hector Protector's rider Freddie Head has not won, an omission he would dearly like to fill. His hopes of doing so depend on Hector Protector's stamina.
I think he's a very laid-back horse, relaxes, and the going's fast. Epsom, it's a quite handy track. I mean, it's fast track, and I think there won't be.
It was Rebecca at Leicester on Monday. I'm laughing, but honestly, if you backed him, you really can claim to be on one of the unluckiest losers that fate can give. Rebecca, ridden by Mark Perrott, we join them. Rebecca jumps the last and goes for home. Now you are guaranteed to win this, aren't you? You're how many clear? 6 lengths clear on the run-in. Coming through, you have got 1 flight to jump, you're clear, the others drunk. Okay, Rebecca's tired, but the race is won. 100 yards to go, driving home. Begin to look at the second horse because that's the only discussion, how close the second's going to be. 50, 20, 10 yards, and whoops! Now, the terrible situation was Mark Perrott carried him.
Longest prize winner in Oaks history.
Well, thank you very much. An interesting thing about it is Tom Gallagher, my travelling head man, he led up Noblette here 25 years ago, and he said that they had a lot in common.
Oh, well, wonderful. Well,
thank you.
Jim, what will you do with her now, do you think?
She'll probably go for the Irish Oaks, and we'll see then from there.
You won't be taking on the colts?
I was never afraid to take on the colts.
No. Jim, tell us about her history.
Well, she came to me in October as a yearling, and we broke her, and she won first. She won first time out as a 2-year-old. Second time she was beaten, that was only over 6 furlongs. I was probably chancing my arm a little bit with her. And then she won a nursery at Leopardstown and went to France then after that. And this year she won first time out of the Curragh, got into all sorts of troubles her last run at Leopardstown, and was lucky enough to survive that. She got a few cuts on her hind legs, but they healed up quickly and we were able to come back here today.
Jim, it's been a great week. How's Star of Gdansk?
Star of Gdansk is very well. He was fresh and perky now this morning, and he's put back on the weight that he lost, and hopefully we'll have him in good shape for the Irish Derby.
You'll take them on again now?
Oh, definitely, yes, yeah.
Great. Well, many congratulations, Jim. Thanks for talking to us.
Jadami the leader now by 2 clear lengths over the up one. Jadami takes it in his stride, but they're queuing up behind to take him on. No More Tricks is coming with a run in the Black Jacket Galaxy High. West Ender with a run, and on the inside it's nearly time. Opens up to Bishki looks cooked. They come down towards the last. They're going to have to go to catch Jadami. He's clear by 4 to 5. They come to take the last skips over it. Jadami, he's beating a good field here, make no mistakes. Jadami is clear. It's going to be a bunch finish for second, but Jadami has this clear by about 8 to 10 to 12, and Your welcomes from the clouds to take second, but Jadami is pretty easily. Through the first furlong, Michael Roberts has Luca Reverti as well there, and through on the inside, it's Justice who's coming through to take up the running, and it's Justice the leader now from Luca Reverti. Up on the outside races Kudos with Subotica and Steamer Duck tucked away, and just last in this very early stage is Bright Glow, but there is no pace at all through the first quarter mile, so this may suit a horse that doesn't really get the trip, and that may just help Suave Dancer. Off a strong pace, you could have doubted him getting the trip, but it's just on the inside, Justice leading, Justice with Luca Reverti and Kudos up on the outer. He made quite a lot of the running last time he ran. He's handy today third. Subotica 4, Suave Dancer tucked away 5, a length and a half back to Steamer Duck 6, and on the inside is Bright Glow in 7th place. But it's still Justice with the call as they continue through the first half mile of this French French Derby, and it's Justice on the inside of Luca Reverti. It'll be interesting to see where Michael Roberts elects to raise the tempo with Luca Reverti on the outside. Showing third, the Rail Subotica. On his outside is Kudos, a length back to Suave Dancer. Bright Glow getting closer, and Steamer Duck is well off the pace, 6th and last, some 8 lengths off the leader. As they go down towards the halfway stage, soon to start swinging right-handed, an Indian file all but, and it's just on the inside. Justice leading, with Luca Reverti matching him now on the outer. Coming through into third is Subotica. Expect a charge from him soon. Kudos is just behind that one on the outside. A length back to Suave Dancer, the odds-on favourite. There's Suave Dancer, Bright Glow, and behind him Steamer Duck, but they start to turn in. About a half a mile to go now, and it's Pat raising the game on Justice from Luca Reverti in second, and these two runners a length and a half ahead of Kudos, but Cash Asmussen is getting closer in behind Kudos now in the white and blue colours. They've got just over a quarter of a mile to go, and Luca Reverti and Kudos in the start sleeve jacket, with Justice giving way next to the rails. Steamer Duck with a run, and here on the outside comes Suave Dancer with a strong looking run that takes him through into the lead now, and Suave Dancer takes this derby. He's still got a furlong or so to run, but he's putting a lot of daylight between himself and Subotica, who comes with the pack for second, and as they go to the line, this one belongs to Cash and Suave Dancer at the post. Suave Dancer the winner, Subotica is second, Kudos third, Luca Reverti 4, and then Steamer Duck and Bright Glow, and the early leader Justice dropped away to be last of all. And so Suave Dancer, the horse with the rush, brought by Cash Asmussen, quite superbly tucked in behind them, but when he turned for home, this crowd knew that he had the race in his pocket. No antics today, very much on the ball, closer to the pace, and here he comes, hands and heels, but by this time the job had already been done, and an electrifying burst of speed to take him clear with a furlong and a half to go, and he wins hard-held to give Cash Asmussen his first French Derby. The Prix de Jockey Club Lancia won in handsome style, a lot of daylight between him and the second horse home, which is Subotica.
And Suave Dancer heads the market. The 6 to 4 on favourite, back from 11 to 8 on, opened up at 5 to 4 on. Stagecraft is 4 to 1 from 7 to 2, and Zerman 11 to 2 from 5s. Environment Friend is a 13 to 2 shot, opened at 6s, and Topiner steady on 12 to 1. Prudent Manor at 33s, and Gilgit is the outsider, 100 to 1.
Here's the favourite. This is Suave Dancer, trained by Englishman John Hammond at Chantilly. Brilliant winner of the French Derby, and the horse who made Generous pull out all the stops in the Budweiser Irish Derby at the Curragh in July. He hasn't run since then, but he's hoping to win this en route to next month's Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. Well, there's no doubt he's going to take all the beating, but remember, he is coming back in distance today. He's taking on specialist mile and a quarter horses, and that brings in two of the English challengers, Stagecraft and also Environment Friend, who brought the house down with this tremendous finish in the Coral Eclipse.
And it's Stagecraft with the power to devour. Here comes Environment Friend. Sanglamore is beaten in the groove, can find no more. The improving Stagecraft strides up, but Environment Friend is chasing. And it's Stagecraft now having to work. And Environment Friend closes with every stride. And Environment Friend comes to take Stagecraft. And Environment Friend beats Stagecraft. And a no-no.
What a race that was. That was Environment Friend getting up to beat Stagecraft. Now, Environment Friend does seem to have two ways of running, very well and very bad. So let's see if he's in a good mood today. And let's now go over to Ireland to see him down at the start. There they are, cantering down. There's Environment Friend on the right of the picture, and down there at the start, there's Prudent Manor, the mount of Michael Kinane. Prudent Manor, number 1 on the left. And there on the right is the Sheikh Mohammed-owned Stagecraft, the mount of Steve Cawthon. If you wonder where Steve was, he's not here in the St. Leger. He's gone over there to ride Stagecraft. So they're arriving at the post, the 1.25 mile start. So let's now go live to Ireland and join the RTE commentary team.
In the money in a pretty good race. He's a very useful sort, but I don't believe that he's Group 1 material, or not Group 1 winning material. Still, there's plenty of money on offer here. Only one of these runners will return empty-handed.
Zoman there on the right, we haven't looked at yet. Fad Salomon colours, Bruce Raymond the saddle. This fella has been a real good money spinner over the years, Zoman. He won the last time out when he beat Corrupt in Coringa Bay at Ayr, and Corrupt goes second favourite for the Leger today at Doncaster. Zoman goes for the 1.25 mile champion stakes here at Leopardstown. This is a hell of a good, consistent horse, Zoman. Never runs a bad race, and has been one of the flag bearers for Paul Cole over the last couple of years. And he campaigns these horses all over Europe and all over the world for that matter. And Zoman has been travelling quite a bit and never fails but to bring home some purse money.
And the man on his back has been travelling quite a bit as well. Bruce Raymond, one of our senior jockeys, one of England's senior jockeys, but riding out of his skin at the moment, and he's bidding for his second Group 1 success inside a week. And we've just heard that the going indeed has officially been changed to good to yielding. Ted, how do you think the change in going will affect the favourite?
I think he should like it. He did like an ease in the ground anyway, and it should be perfect ground. The ground is only an excuse for bad horses, really, and I don't think he's a bad horse. Gogarty here, Willie Supple. Gogarty is the most recent horse to perform on a race course. He ran as close as last week when he ran at Gordon behind Zamanan. And previous to that, he'd been no match for Committed Dancer at Tralee. He did beat Island Breeze in the Bursar here in a big handicap earlier on in the year, and you would imagine he should be outclassed in a Group 1 race. Called by Tate Gallery at a Bruise Bridge. He's owned by Frank Dunn, who would be a sister of Mrs. McMahon, who owns Topanora. So I imagine he might be in here maybe to help Topanora along a bit. There's number 5, Environment Friend. James Fanshaw, as long as he might train, and he'll train family for many a good year, will always remember the grey Environment Friend, because this is the horse that's put him on the map as an international trainer. He won the Derby trial at York earlier on in the year, and then he came along and won the Eclipse Stakes.
And Environment Friend is an 8-to-1 shot now, having opened at 6s, but Suave Dancer remains at 6-to-4 on. Stagecraft is steady at 9-to-2. Zoman is 7-to-1 now. Environment Friend is 8-to-1 with Topanora, 33-to-1 Prudent Manor, and 150-to-1 the outsider of the 7-horse party, Gogarty.
Well, there is the favourite, gone in nice and quietly. Cash just standing on the side rests at both sides of the stalls. They're looking back. And it doesn't look to be too long more before there's only a couple to go in. You see Prudent Manor is just not in yet, and the grey Environment Friend isn't in. Topanora and Stagecraft already loaded up. Just about to go in now is Prudent Manor. Here is Zoman. Tony, only a couple to go.
Yes, Zoman and Bruce Raymond being preceded into the stalls by Environment Friend. George Duffield. Zoman fitted with the hood. Drifter in the market, open up at 5-to-1 now, a 7-to-1 chance, but the one that there has been good support for is Topanura, no doubt prompted by the ease in the ground into 8-to-1 from early offers of 12. The odds-on favourite, Suave Dancer, nearest to us as they line up for the Meadowmeats Irish Champion Stakes. Bruce Raymond whips the hood off Zoman, and they're off and running, and Cash Asmussen settling in Suave Dancer towards the back with Topanura behind him, and Gogarty it is who goes on with Zoman. Zoman on the inside of Gogarty. They're 2 lengths in front of Stagecraft in third, and behind Stagecraft comes Environment Friend, followed by Suave Dancer. Topanura is last but 1, and finally Prudent Manor as they race down to complete the first quarter mile. And Gogarty, the rank outsider, setting the pace, half a length in front of Zoman. Gap of over 3 lengths to Stagecraft. Steve Cawthon running third. Environment Friend, the grey 4, tracked by the favourite Suave Dancer, with Topanura last but one and Prudent Manor last of all. Gogarty by over a length as they pass the 7 markers. Zoman in second, then Stagecraft. Suave Dancer moves up on the outside of Environment Friend. As they run down now towards the 6 furlong pole, Gogarty and Willie Supple by 2 from Zoman. Suave Dancer has moved up third, Stagecraft 4. Environment Friend is 5. Then Topanura and Prudent Manor is out the back as they continue down the back straight towards the 5 pole, and Gogarty leads by 2.5 from Zoman in second. Suave Dancer 3, Stagecraft 4. Then Environment Friend on the outside. Topanura is behind them and Prudent Manor last of all as they ring around by the 4 furlong marker now, and it's Gogarty with Zoman now on his outside. Suave Dancer poised on the outside of Stagecraft. Environment Friend being niggled along. Topanura is 3 lengths back. They race towards the 3 furlong pole. Zoman with a white face, the leader from Gogarty. Suave Dancer cruising. Environment Friend getting closer. Steve Cawthon begins to go to work on Stagecraft. Topanura is off them. They're into the straight over 2 to race. Zoman leads. Tracked by Suave Dancer as they come towards the 2 furlong pole. Environment Friend runs way off the bend. They race past the 2 now, and it's Suave Dancer who hits the front, tackled by Stagecraft. Zoman on the inside. Topanura under pressure. Environment Friend right out in the centre of the track, but as they race towards the final furlong, it's Suave Dancer who quickens away. He's drifted towards the rail a little, but he's 3 to 4 lengths clear of Stagecraft. Zoman, Environment Friend out on his own on the stand side, but this is a good performance from a very good horse. Suave Dancer, Environment Friend's run all over the track. It's going to be second, but up the line, Suave Dancer eased down, wins it like a high-class performer from Environment Friend. Second, 3 Stagecraft, 4 Topanura, 5 Zoman, 6 is Prudent Manor, and a long way back to Gogarty. So any doubts about the ground or the left-handed track raised there by a fine performance by the odds-on favourite Suave Dancer en route for the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe on the first Sunday in October.
Well, what a mouth-watering clash that'll be between Generous and Suave Dancer, because this horse, as said beforehand, he'd improved since he ran in the Budweiser Irish Derby, and just how much he's improved is really unknown, because he got a very confident ride off a cash here. He closed the door on Steve Cawthon across the bottom, moved up and he's outside the Zoman here, and once he gives him the office to go, he absolutely sprints clear. Environment Friend ran all over the track. He drifted out completely out here towards the stand side, nearly onto the chase course, and was lucky the chase fence was missing there because he looked like he was going to jump it. Stagecraft can find no more. Environment Friend deprives him of second place, and Suave Dancer goes right away. Cash only has to just squeeze this horse up, give him a slap down the shoulder, and he's quickened up really well. He's a high-class horse, and what sort of horse is Generous to be able to beat this fella? It'll be what a clash it'll be in the Arc. 2 really top-class horses taking one another on again, and that should be something to see. Here's Environment Friend running his usual courageous race to be second. I don't know the reason why he ran off the track as much as that, because he has operated on left-handed tracks before, but he absolutely came off that last bend as if he was heading to the fence here on the stand side. There is Suave Dancer on his way back, and what a good training performance too by his young trainer John Hammond to have him in such peak condition. Gave him a break after the Budweiser Irish Derby at the end of June. It's a couple of months since he's run. He's brought him back to, he said, near his very best, and I'd say it probably is, and he's put up a very, very stylish performance here and left him spot on now for the Arc in a couple of weeks' time, or early October, maybe 3 weeks' time.
Yes, 3 weeks on Sunday. Suave Dancer versus Generous. The battle renewed. I must say, he did it absolutely beautifully there. And I know his trainer John Hammond and Cash Asmussen say that they don't have any excuses for Ireland, but they just think that a home match, they'll get an awful lot closer. And if they get the run of the race, don't forget Generous will probably have to go first. He just might not be able to take the sting out of him the way he did in Ireland. But anyway, a wonderful thought. 3 weeks on Sunday, live on Channel 4, the Arc de Triomphe, and Generous versus Suave Dancer. Here's his SP in Ireland.
First, number 7, Suave Dancer, the 6 to 4 on favourite. Second, number 5, Environment Friend at 8 to 1. And third, number 2, Stagecraft, returned at 5 to 1, 7 round.
Cash, a marvellous performance from a fabulous horse.
Yeah, I think that if he comes on from this race the way that we feel he was, he's going to, about the first Sunday in August, I mean, first Sunday in October in the Arc, I think that he's going to be on top of his game. Came here today, 2,000 metres. The ground did come up a little bit soft in the end, which I don't feel this horse minds the soft going, but after 77 days of absence, I was happy that he had enough class not to be taken on 3 out.
He's done it in tremendous style and no worries throughout.
No, I was happy to... He was a bit rusty early on in the race. The going was probably... He hasn't run on this soft a going since he broke his maiden early in April. But then once he got the motor rolling down the back, he I just put him in the catbird seat and followed Zoman along. Steve rolled to him pretty much full of himself, but I really wasn't worried when my horse quickened. He gave me that feel that he does the last 3 furlongs.
Cash, the motor is rolling now. Zoman is leading you into the straight, but everything's going pretty tidily. Steve's coming on your outside, but you don't have too many worries.
No, there was for about 25 or 30 yards there that when Steve rolled up beside him, I did have to ask him to switch to his right leg and accelerate a bit. Didn't want to do anything in too much of a hurry over the ground in case I did come up a bit short. I didn't want to take anything out of him. Once he gave me that half a furlong that we know he has, that he pretty much coasted from there and seemed to pull up and didn't seem to be in any stress.
He's certainly not in any stress. Stagecraft is in the left of our picture there, but it's Environment Friend who swings wide, in fact, and fills second place. But the race is over. Suave Dancer, a brilliant winner. And Steve, Cash, he goes now to Longchamp. It's the Arc. It's a rematch with Generous. Now, looking back over the Irish Derby, the Budweiser Irish Derby, is there anything that you'll do differently at Longchamp?
Well, whether it'll be to the right or to the wrong, there'll be definitely a couple things I'll do different, because that's... Generous did beat us on the day. We know our horse handles Longchamp. That's why we weren't really worried about giving him a prep to the left. And it was over 1.25 miles. The only other 1.25 mile race for a prep in France at Longchamp is 2 weeks before the race. Horse had been off a while. If he had a hard race, we want 3 weeks in between our race. We feel he'll be on top of his game. This horse has put on some strength, 1.25 miles, a little bit tighter track. Mr. Hammond will probably put a little bit of speed in him, to where we for sure can be within shooting distance of Generous turning for home, or him within shooting distance of us.
This is where you've been introduced, Lester, as a legend to match the Eiffel Tower, in fact. And you are a legend on Arc Day and many other days. Haven't got a ride this year, but Lester, what do you think of the race? What chance has Generous got?
Well, it should be a terrific race. You know, I think Generous is pretty big a certainty as you can have. By an accident, and you know, let's hope he wins. Well,
Lester, in your many octoprills, were there any that you felt you ought to have won when you didn't?
Well, you know, I could have been. You could say I was a bit unlucky on Park Top, and probably Nijinsky. I was unfortunate to get beaten, but that was all. You know, just a little bit probably.
They both came from a long way behind.
Yeah, a fairly good way, because that's the way you had to ride him.
Nijinsky, did Nijinsky have to be ridden like that?
Not really, but that day here, he was having a job to keep up. They went really fast, and you know, just having to get after him a bit to keep him up there. You know.
If only we could get Mr. Munro to have measles and you could ride Generous, how would you ride him?
Well, you know, that's up to him, because he knows the horse well, and I don't think he'll have any problem today. You know, I mean, he hadn't got a good draw, but it could be to his benefit, really.
Mm-hmm. What would you think was the main danger?
Well, you know, it looks obvious. Suave Dancer.
Mm-hmm. Any others?
Not really, no.
No. Mm. Well, let's hope you're right. Lester, your marvellous comeback, it's getting close to the century, isn't it, since you came back?
Yeah, that's right. I've very nearly ridden 100 winners since I started. So I've got about another week to go, I think, and try and do it anyway.
Yeah, well, do that. Never mind the first 100, it's the second and third we want. Anyway, you don't regret coming back?
Oh, no, you know, it's been great, really. You know.
Been great for all of us watching you too.
Thanks, John.
Thanks.
Set it away they race, and El Senor the Grey loses lengths out of the stalls, looks reluctant to race and is being driven along to hold a position. But it's Art Bleu who takes them along by a length. Quest for Fame second, Pistolet Bleu the rail fourth, Generous wide in a good position. Jet Ski Lady can't go the pace to lie up there. Then comes Shamshir and Miss Alleged, followed by Pigeon Voyageur, and then Sturgeon in the groove, and Suave Dancer has just 3 behind. Magic Night is 1, 2 on another, and at a gap of about 6 to 8 lengths, the American runner El Senor not enjoying himself at this stage. But it's Art Bleu the rail with Jet Ski Lady on the outside, Pistolet Bleu the rail back in third, Generous holds a good position 4. These are followed by Quest for Fame 5, and then Misalledge the rail in the check jacket 6, Snurge the yellow colours right of picture, Shamshir the white sleeves in behind them, in the groove mid-division, Pigeon Voyageur the black and yellow hoops mid-division, the grey is El Senor, he's last, and Suave Dancers pulled wide as they go down towards the halfway stage, and it's Art Bleu leading by a length and a half to Pistolet Bleu, and Jet Ski Lady has almost given up the unequal task. Generous, the dark green jacket on the outside of Quest for Fame. Generous is striding closer. He's holding a good position as they pass halfway, but it's still the pace that maker Art Bleu leading. Generous wide in second. Quest for Fame, the pink cap third. Next to the rails, Pistolet Bleu 4. Shamshir wide in 5. Misalledge 6. In the groove, sweeps past horses to go 7. And then just in behind these comes Pistolet Bleu, of course, and Suave Dancer is on the outside. Snurge is towards the rear. They've still got one more bend to take, and it's Art Bleu the leader, but Generous going well on the outside. Quest for Fame, the pink cap in between them. In the groove runs a big race. Magic Knight tries to close. Suave Dancers in blue and white picking up. Toulon's force wide on this final turn, and now it's a drive to the line, and it's Pistolet Bleu the rail. Generous giving all down the centre of the track, but Pistolet Bleu has the advantage. From in second place, Quest for Fame. Magic Knight with the red sleeves. Here comes Suave Dancer with a swoop on the outside of In the Groove. They've got a furlong to go, and it's Pistolet Bleu in the lead from Suave Dancer, who has taken a class field apart. This is Suave Dancer. This is the top-class racehorse, and it's Suave Dancer to home now. And it's Suave Dancer from Magic Knight as they come to take the line. It's Suave Dancer's arc. He is the winner. Magic Knight is second. Pistolet Bleu is third. A gap of 4 lengths to Toulon in 4. And then Pigeon Voyageur, followed by In the Groove and Generous and Quest for Fame. And then comes El Senor, followed by Misalledge. And then Shamshir, and behind Shamshir was Art Bleu, and behind Art Bleu, Jet Ski Lady, who just couldn't live with them. Neither could Snurge, who finished last of all. And so the result then of this Chiga Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, it's a victory for Cash Asmussen. He has ridden this winner, number 8 on the card. Suave Dancer in the colours of Mr. Henri Chaloub, trained here, trained in France in Chantilly by John Hammond and ridden by Cash Asmussen. And this horse, don't forget, this was a top class race. He has beaten winners of 12 Group 1 races. The winners of 7 classics were in this race, and he's taken the race apart. Generous, however, couldn't get into the race. There he is. But a steward's inquiry has been called. Suave Dancer came wide down the outside, and then he swerved, as is his custom, inside the final furlong, but is clear as he drives to the line. But there is our defeated hero, Generous. There is our winner, Suave Dancer. Second horse home is number 14, Magic Knight, with the third horse home being number 11, Pistolet Bleu.
Well, we're coming round into the straight. This is one of the roughest races I've seen for a long time, and a lot of the trouble is caused by the pacemaker, Art Bleu, who moves off the rails to give his own, his stable companion, Pistolet Bleu, plenty of room. He's already hampered Walter Swinburne on Quest for Fame before that, and earlier Jet Ski Lady hampered Walter. Now watch Pigeon Voyageur, who tries to come between Alan Munro. He's short of room at the minute. It really is a bit of a shenanigans there. I don't think the winner, Suave Dancer's involved. I can't see Magic Knight at the minute. There she is with the noseband looking for room. You see Pigeon Voyageur's jockeys had to snatch up, and round that final turn nobody was doing anybody any favours.
Yeah, Freddie.
Suave Dancer goes clear and swerves across, but he's always done that. I don't think he causes any trouble. Here he goes now. Steve Cawthon right behind him. You see Steve hasn't had to stop riding, and he's a couple of lengths clear at this point.
Yeah, he's quickened up well away from the others. Neither of them have had to jink or stop riding. He quickened up like a good horse, and it's left the filly with the noseband. She's run on to take second place, run a tremendous race, and the horse who benefited from Art Bleu coming off the rails, Pistolet Bleu, ran on to take third place. Toulon, I thought he ran a blinder, he ran on to take fourth spot.
And it's not the first time that pacemakers used by the Wildenstein team, I'm not meaning it from a sour grapes point of view, from everybody, French, English, Irish, whatever challengers in the race have done this in an Arc de Triomphe, and you simply cannot pull wide on a in a top class race where there are a lot of horses. You've got to hold your position, and if Pistolet Bleu being hampered, well then it's too bad. He was following a horse, but Art Bleu definitely pulled off and caused a lot of trouble. But down now to the closing stages. Let's concern ourselves with the winner. Cash Asmussen rates him a great horse. He has a rush. He said he was going to sit in the catbird position and pounce. He pounced. He went clear. There's little Magic Knight coming through to take second place from Pistolet Bleu. You can expect some press conference when Cash goes in to meet the scribes and his connections. The hyperbole, the allegory, it'll all flow. Cash said he'd class. Cash said he'd rush. And he's shown just how much.
Cash Asmussen, he's now won the Arc. Suave Dancer's got his revenge. More from him, from the whole team after this. The sweetness of victory. Suave Dancer and Cash Asmussen. Cash, 5 times champion of France, but he had never won the Arc. Here he is riding back. John Hammond, who said to him, don't get involved with any battles with Generous, take your time. And he said afterwards he never thought Cash would have the guts to drop him out so late. But Cash has got iron nerve and has had a most unbelievable reception coming back today. Don't forget, Cash bought this horse with his father as a yearling, and therefore has been centrally involved with his career right through. Sold him on to Henri Chaloub, his Lebanese owner, and with his hat off, the King of Longchamp has had the most wonderful reception. Cash, who came from Texas, top apprentice in New York, led the New York rankings, came to France and made the French tracks his own. Just listen to this. Mr. Shab and the owner. So there, Suave Dancer and John Hammond walking towards us, his trainer. Early days as a trainer, John, but the very pinnacle already.
That's
Congratulations.
wonderful. Absolutely thrilled, yeah.
We talked the other day and you said, well, you hoped he might be capable of doing it, but did you believe it could happen as sweetly as this?
I never wanted to believe it beforehand. I just wanted to see it.
And the idea was to come as late as that, was it?
Well, no, we discussed it before, and the one thing we didn't want to do was to just follow Generous. I said to Cash to ride his own race, depending on what pace they were going. And if we didn't get to the other horse, we didn't get to him, and I thought he rode a wonderful race.
How do you think, did you think the pace was too strong early on?
They went very, very, very fast. Cash said in the end he even ended up getting there a bit too soon.
And you've got beaten by Generous in the Irish Derby, but you've got revenge here very completely.
Yeah, it's the big one that matters. It was terrific.
Tell us about the horse, because he looks so good when he won in France. At his best, do you think there's anything that could beat him?
He's a very good horse. He's been slow maturing and he's got better as we've gone along. And the wonderful thing is we've just had so few problems with him. He's been a very easy horse to train, and Cash gets on with him very well. It's been wonderful, really. And it looks like he stays too.
Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
Stay in training, John.
And the steward's inquiry is already over. Suave Dancer is confirmed as the winner of the 70th Arc de Triomphe. The last show about him was 4.1 to 1 on the Paris Mutuelle. That was the last show. Magic Knight's last show was 10.2 to 1, and Pistolet Bleu, coupled with Arc Bleu, was a 6.8 to 1 chance. But as we said beforehand, Cash Asmussen in the catbird seat. How he pounced. But let's see a replay of the race to confirm the brilliance of Suave Dancer.
Yeah, once again, glorious moments, particularly for those who backed the horse. all those connected with him. The turn of foot, the familiar jink as he changes his legs. When he seems to hit top pace, for some reason, he just seems to change his lead. He's done that over the rails, no more than hands and heels, and a firm squeeze up to keep him going. Done it like a class horse. He really did look the part on French Derby Day back in the summer. Well, here on an autumn afternoon, equally beautiful. He's looked just as impressive a sight, but this time against far stronger opposition. And what are the vanquished? Well, let's look at them.
Alan, bitter disappointment. What happened?
There isn't really much to say from my end. We had a lovely position, just turning for home. He was going as well as he ever has been, and he just ran out of gas. You know? I let go of him, and he went from being a strong lion to as weak as a kitten, and he ambled his way to the line. You know? Very, very disappointing, you know. But it's been a long year, I guess.
Can you blame the draw at all?
No, the first furlong, you know, I was soon in command of that. You know, after we'd gone a furlong, I was in a nice position, just tracking Jet Ski Lady. On top of the hill, he just faded away, and I came round. Quest of Fame's come with us, you know, and we're tracking the pacemaker, Pistol Bleu, and then it's us two, Quest of Fame and myself. And we just closed on the leader as the pace slowed, and you know, everything was going right. It's just fell in the hole, you know.
So the 2 furlongs out, you were just where you wanted to be?
Oh, yes, you know, I mean, the ideal position turning for home, if he just produced his turn of foot that he usually has, then, well, I guess we would have been home and dry, you know. Taking no credit away from Suave Dancer, he's a true champion, and I'm really pleased to see him win, you know, seeing that I can't. So.
But it just shows a long season, the effects of a long season are invisible, aren't they?
It's incredible, really, because he's had the ideal preparation, you would think. He's had a good long break. He had 3-4 weeks in the box, well, out in the ring, you know, in the paddock. And then Mr. Cole brought him back. His weight came down, and it's, you know, he looked like being in peak condition. You would think that he wouldn't go over the top doing that, would you? But strangely enough, you know, he just seemed to run out of gas. So.
Alan, thanks very much. Very bad luck. We're all really sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. So am I.
Thanks.
Thanks.
No, it was not Generous Day. It was not to be. It was Suave Dancer.
Again.
And with us, the hero of the hour, Cass Asmussen. As sweet a moment as you've ever had?
As sweet as I've ever had.
And how early did you think it was possible?
Well, when we were down the back, I was a little bit farther back than I wanted to be. I mean, I was in behind Snurge. Snurge wasn't following quite as well as I wanted him to. He was right on Generous's tail going up the back. Coming down the hill, we had a couple on the inside that were out. I did ease up a little bit behind in the groove coming into the false straight. When we come out of the false straight, eased him out to take a peek here. I'm a bit wide. We're just on the outer limit of the new track. We are a bit wide, but everybody on the inside's pretty much dead. When I did get there and take a look, saw how many people were off the bridle, I gave him 100 yards, 200 yards of fresh air. And then when I kicked on, he found what I wanted. I brought him back over to the rails. We were as far out as we wanted to be. I didn't want him to be running out on his own. We did have trouble here one time, but once I got down and went to work on him, he just left him for dead. I guess that kind of confirms that he does like the soft growing and he does stay the distance.
Cash, a brilliant day. Congratulations.
Stop press. I think Jo, she can teach me a lesson too. It's not J-O-E, by the way, it's J-O. She's all female, you can see that.
Oh, Lord. She won't want to come racing again, that's for certain.
Poor girl.
Eric,
work at the minute? You're busy putting together a compilation of some of your great shots?
No, I'll tell you what, I know of Thames have done this. They put a compilation of a lot of my silence.
Mm-hmm.
And
there you go. She's obviously from Swindon. She's looking for lunch, I think.
Anyway, if we survive their attacks, they are going to be... he's coming straight at me, this one. Gee whiz.
Now, the reason we're on the air at all is due to the man next to me, the great boss, the great king from the sky, Michael Grade, Governor of Channel 4. Michael, thank you very much for looking after racing.
Great pleasure. I'm not used to seeing you standing up. You should be on your knees.
No, well, I am, sir. I'll conduct the interview from down here.
One of the great grovellers.
I know my place.
Now, madam, you've got the jacket on today.
Yes.
Why? Oh, it's red hot.
Because if I take my clothes off, you might want me.
Oh, I say.
Excitement of the afternoon's racing has been completely lost on somebody. He's enjoying the sunshine there. So though his mum's had the sense to put him in the shade, or maybe he's just finished off a pint of beer by the looks of him. Apparently he's called Kieran, he's 7 months old, and it was Guinness, not lager.
And guess who trains specificity? How do you pronounce it? Specific. Let's try again. Must get this right. Specificity. Whatever that was called that won the first St. Catholic. Do it, because the one thing I thought they're not going to be able to do is to chase.
I asked him the same question. Do you know what he said to me? No.
And finally, what actually did you say to the divine Julia Somerville at the end of each bulletin?
Well, I did change it a bit from these nice newscasters. Julia is very kind. She came to the farewell party the other day, and she gave me a kiss the first time. So I said thank you.
Sir Alistair Burnett's final bong, John McCririck, Channel 4 Racing, Sandown Park. I've always wanted...